Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Jay Mass, and I'm back again with another dope adventure. And once again, we are up here in beautiful upstate New York. More specifically, we're here in the town of Manchester, New York, which is located just to the east of the city of Rochester, New York. We're also just north of the Finger Lakes region of New York. Beautiful area, would highly recommend checking it out if you're ever in this region. But today, while we're here in Manchester, New York, we're going to be exploring another interesting abandoned location. And of course, you can already see me standing inside it. This is a massive monolithic structure. It's actually referred to as the Manchester Roundhouse. Now, before we get into what exactly a roundhouse is and what this place did, I will mention that it was built all the way back in 1916, during World War I, actually. It was owned and operated by the Lehigh Valley Railroad, operated for many decades up until the 1970s when it was slowly abandoned, and then it was officially closed down in the 1990s, and it's been closed and abandoned ever since. And you can clearly see by all of the graffiti, the structural disrepair and decay, but it's a fascinating structure. Now, as you could probably gather from that information, since it was owned by a railroad company, this place served a lot of trains and locomotives. A roundhouse is actually a location that would, take a train right in the middle and spin it around for repairs and maintenance and even storage. So a lot of maintenance and storage was going on in this place. A roundhouse actually comes from the name of how it looks. It looks like a semicircle almost. I will show you guys later on some drone shots of what it looks like from above. In fact, I'll even show a picture right here. The Manchester Roundhouse is a bit of a semicircle shape. Really interesting location. We're going to walk around this entire structure. There's also some structures outside of the one I'm in right now. And in fact, this place that I'm filming the intro in is actually the smallest, and it's still huge. So anyways, without further ado, we are going to get started and explore the Manchester Roundhouse here in Manchester, New York. Before we do that, I do want to introduce the two urban explorers I'm joined with today, because I'm not going to be exploring just by myself. And as I mentioned, I'm going to be joined by two other urban explorers today, and of course they are frequent face on the channel, crossthewords1221, and a new urban explorer who's never been on the channel before, Matt Losier. So all of us are going to be exploring the Manchester Roundhouse here in Manchester, New York together. Very excited to see what's in store here. We actually did come here yesterday, so this is our second time. This time we came back to film and check it out more in depth. You guys excited to check this out once again?
You got it.
Let's
go.
So let's get started and explore this place. All right, guys, and we're going to get started and explore the abandoned Manchester Roundhouse here in the town of Manchester, New York. I just want to show you how absolutely massive this structure is. This isn't the room that I filmed the introduction in. I was actually in one of the smaller sections of this roundhouse. But you can just get a sense of how large this place is. You can see all of these concrete columns holding up the roof and the ceiling. And by the way, that is one thing I want to mention. While I was doing research on this place, apparently bricks commonly fall from the roof up here. It's a very dangerous location. I wouldn't recommend you come here yourself. Again, that's just one of the many reasons why this place is dangerous. Bricks often fall down. You can actually see little bits of bricks on the ground here. So just something to, be cautious of. But we are just going to kind of wander around. And as we do that, I'll delve more into the history. So as I mentioned, this roundhouse was constructed in 1916, owned and operated by the Lehigh Valley Railroad. Now, interestingly, during the 1920s, Manchester, New York was a prominent rail yard town, had a massive railway industry. Of course, the Lehigh Valley Railroad was one of the more prominent ones. And Manchester, New York has a pretty important geographic location. It's located just east of the city of Rochester, which is a massive city in upstate New York, but it's also not too far away from Syracuse either. It's I would say about an hour, maybe hour 15 west of Syracuse. And again, north of the Finger Lakes, which also includes major towns like Ithaca. So it's in a pretty geographically central region for New York State. But yeah, this was built in 1916 during a time of importance for the railroad industry. Wouldn't you say so, Davis?
I would say so. It was a beautiful time. I miss it.
You do. Yeah, because you were alive during that time, right?
Yeah, I'm about 347 years old.
The other thing I do want to mention, by the way, as we walk around, obviously there's not necessarily a lot left behind. I will admit, most of this place is pretty empty and sparse. It is pretty clear that a lot of the structure has been gutted. There are a couple things here and there, but sadly nothing major, no historical documents or records. Not a lot of furniture or machinery, but there are a couple things I can show off. In fact, one of them is in this little room right here, so let's head over. All right, let's take a peek in here. This is one of the few things that's left behind, and probably one of the more scenic, is this overgrown couch. Check this out. We're in a tiny little room in the Roundhouse right now. This is probably something of a hangout spot for local kids and teenagers. And then you just have a random couch here. Obviously not a couch I would be sitting on anytime soon. You can even see that plants have been growing out of the seat of this couch, which is crazy. You even got one of the cushions here, but this is the kind of stuff you find here in this Roundhouse. Super interesting. But yeah, this is just one of the little rooms. Most of the structure consists of these massive sections like this, all the columns. And it's really beautiful, really looks cool. So anyways, going further into it, by the 1920s, Manchester is a crucial railroad hub up here in upstate New York. Again, close to many major cities, Rochester, Syracuse, I guess even Buffalo to an extent. Now, a roundhouse served a major purpose for rail yards. I mentioned this in the introduction, but trains and locomotives and such would be taken in the center of the roundhouse. They would be placed in something called a turntable and moved around to certain bay windows or stalls and pushed around for storage or maintenance or repairs. I mean, this was basically a train repair / storage depot. And I will show you the turntable itself in a little bit. It is kind of overgrown, but the turntable is where the trains would be guided into and then turned around. And if I'm not mistaken, the Manchester Roundhouse actually had 30 bay entrances, which means 30 potential locomotives could have been stored here, worked on here. Again, this is a massive structure. I'll put down below how many square feet that this place takes up because it is large. But again, up to 30 trains could be stored here or repaired on at any given time. You can also see it's a very bright day, all of the natural light pouring in here. I don't even really need a flashlight as I wander around. It is super bright in here, super pretty. And the other thing I want to mention, of course, the elephant in the room, is all the graffiti. Considering that this is a massive, empty, industrial, shell of a building, you'll be seeing a lot of graffiti everywhere. A lot of local graffiti artists come here to the Manchester Roundhouse. Some of it's cool, some of it's mid. It's par for the course. Now, I did mention the three of us actually came here, I guess yesterday actually. This is our second time coming here. And this was probably the coolest thing I found here, which is, of course, this tire swing. So in a second, I am going to show you guys a little bit of me hanging on this tire swing, having a good time. Yo, what's going on, guys? It's JMS. I'm currently just hanging around here in the Manchester Roundhouse on my favorite tire swing in any abandoned location I've ever been. What can I say? It's a good day to just swing around. Yippee! That's really all there is to it. Sometimes you just gotta have a good time. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed me gallivanting on this tire swing, but now we're gonna head inside here, just a little back room. Well, I say little, it's still absolutely massive. But let's peek down here. This I remember from yesterday. It almost looks like a little squatter's den. You'll see that there's a little chair, a sofa, and then a tent, which appears to be collapsed at this point. So it looks like at some point, squatters were camping out here, hanging out. I wouldn't sit on these chairs nowadays. They're pretty disgusting.
It smells.
Yeah, I would not sit on that. But, and yeah, there's a tent right there, which is completely collapsed and drenched in something. But as you can tell, squatters have definitely been coming here for some time. Yeah, it's pretty gross over here too. You got a lot more graffiti. And then right over here, I think, is some sort of a garage door. This I don't think was for the trains. I think this was for trucks. The trains would be coming from over there, which we'll get to. This is probably just for trucks coming in, loading and unloading freight. And then again, you can see a lot of debris left behind. Again, this building for the most part is pretty empty and gutted, but it's still cool to see the remnants of the structure itself, In fact, up here, you can actually see where the garage door would come. Pretty cool. Who's that next to you? Ghostface?
Scream.
Ghostface some Scream, yeah. And actually, there's another one right there, too. You have a solid one right here, very good artistic quality, and then this one. I'm sorry for the graffiti artist who drew that. Oh, what's this?
Top of the cookie
Oh, that's
thing.
cool. So yeah, just a little room over here, nothing too crazy, but I did want to point that out to you guys. Oh, and then this thing right here. Wasn't Matt said, I think, that this is some sort of Freemason symbol?
Oh, it is, yes.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what this is. I'm not going to comment on it really, but I don't know, pretty cool to see. But anyways, I did just want to show you guys that little room. We're going to continue onward. There's another large room I want to check out, another large section like this. In fact, there's Matt right over there. So next up, we're going to head into here, and this is probably my personal favorite section of the Roundhouse. As you'll see as we step inside, I just really love how the foliage and vegetation just peeks out of these windows. It's like you get a hodgepodge of, you know, the gray, deteriorating industrial sector of America, right next to nature reclaiming itself, you know, beautiful greenery. You know, it's really interesting. I love the ethereal serenity of this place. But, interesting place, yeah. One thing too I want to mention, it's kind of cool seeing like the differences in height of these ceilings. You have a smaller roof right here, shorter I should say, and a taller section up here. And then you get these green tinted windows. It might be hard to see on camera, but these windows are tinted green. So it's letting in a bit of green natural light, which I think is also adding to this sort of nature driven look that we're getting at right here. But yeah, as we kind of wander around, I will continue on with the history. We pretty much left off with Manchester, New York being one of the prominent railroad towns in upstate New York. And this place did operate for many decades successfully, but unfortunately by the 1970s, that had begun to dwindle. By the 1970s, from what I could find online, it does seem that this place was starting to become abandoned. And by the 1990s, it was officially abandoned and closed. And it's basically been abandoned and closed ever since the 90s. Not used anymore, and as you can see, entirely gutted, decayed, filled with graffiti. But it's cool to walk around and see this remnant of New York's prominent railroad industry, which was truly important throughout the 20th century, especially when this place was built in 1916. Again, America was at war in World War I, and it was important to get freight where it needed to be, especially during wartime, especially during World War II when that happened. Of course, this rail yard was active during World War II. And trains truly were the backbone of American industry back then. It's pretty cool to see. What are your thoughts on this place so far?
I like the vintage feel to it. I like the size, very grandiose.
Yeah.
We're gonna see in a moment, the middle of it, how overgrown it is.
Yep.
But someone still does mow the lawn too, so we can get through it. I don't know. It's hard to put into words, but
Yeah,
I really appreciate it more than I thought I would when I first heard about it.
absolutely. As Cross just mentioned, we will get out there shortly. There's I believe one more building to check out, and then of course the turntable just outside this massive structure itself. But they all served the same purpose, you know, the Roundhouse, positioning trains where they need to go. And all these little entrances you're seeing right here are the bays. This is where the trains would come in. So the turntable would have the trays position themselves, go through these huge bay windows, and then docked in here, whether it was for maintenance or repairs or even just storage. So pretty cool to see. But this is the massive Roundhouse structure itself. Momentarily, we are going to be heading outside, checking out a little bit of that. I'll show you guys the exterior structure, and of course, there's a massive brick building nearby that I want to check out with you guys too. But pretty cool so far. All right, guys, we are now outside of the Roundhouse itself. I did just want to give you a little look at the structure. This is from the courtyard. I'm calling it a courtyard. It's not really, but this courtyard area, basically in the middle of the semicircle structure. You can see it, pretty cool looking. This right here is the turntable. It might be kind of difficult to see, and I'll give you guys a better look in a second, but what this ramp leads to is the turntable, which is actually where the trains and locomotives and other sort of steam engines would come over here, and they would be turned around facing whichever bay window they need to go through. So why don't we head down here through the weeds, and I will show you the turntable, a better view of it. I do want to mention the turntable is very overgrown, but that's it right there. You can kind of get a glimpse of it. So what would happen is locomotives and trains would be guided through this turntable. It would be positioned whichever bay they wanted it in, whether it's for storage or maintenance. and held there for as long as they need to be held. I think over here you might actually be able to get a better view of it. Let's see if we can wade through. I know Cross mentioned this, but it does look like some maintenance work is being done to this grass. Almost looks like some sort of, I don't know, vehicle like rolled through here. But see if we can get a better view. Yeah, right here. This is the turntable. So this is where the locomotives will be moved around, positioned. I wish I could get up closer to it, but it is very overgrown. But it's really cool to see. And in fact, during my research, I found that there really aren't that many roundhouses left, at least in this part of the United States. Only a handful of roundhouses are still left behind here in the eastern United States. And this one right here, the Manchester Roundhouse, is one of the rare few. Pretty cool to see. Just one more exterior shot of the roundhouse itself. You can really gauge the size and shape of this semicircle structure. Of course, right here in the middle, you got the turntable. But it really is a massive structure. This is what we were just inside. And then where I'm standing right now is on some sort of loading dock. And you have this brick structure right here. Now, I'm actually not really sure what this structure was. I don't know if... Do you have an idea of what this might be, this building we're in? Because I'm honestly not sure.
I don't know, it's just a maintenance house. I mean, there's a boiler down the way, so...
Yeah, right down there, actually. There's a... We'll get to that shortly. There's a boiler down here. I could see this being for, like, utility or maintenance of some sort, maybe.
There's bathrooms in here, too, so,
yep.
I mean, employee quarters, whatever.
That could be it. It could be for staff. There is actually this structure right here, which, when we came here yesterday, we weren't entirely sure what it is.
I think it's an AHU, an air handler unit.
Oh, okay. What exactly do those do?
I mean, it just circulates air for the building.
Oh, so it's like a vent or
yeah,
some,
I think
some
it's
sort.
some sort of exhaust fan, the specific piece.
Yeah, of course, if anyone in the comments knows what this is exactly, please let me know. But yeah, this could be what Matt just suggested. I'm obviously not very well versed in industrial machinery, but it's super cool to see nonetheless. This is one of the few machines left behind in this roundhouse area. And it is actually in this little brick building, which I keep on walking around with you guys. You can see there are just pallets everywhere, lots of pallet debris, lots of wood, other materials. I can see some rolls of, and of course you got Cross getting a photo shoot right over here. Modeling for Calvin Klein, right?
Yeah, I got the undies.
Like the old school Mark Wahlberg ones. So yeah, that's about it for this building, or this room, I should say. We'll go into the other rooms in a second. But as you can see, it is quite a mess in here. A lot of debris, materials. But it's a cool little, I don't know, cool little brick building. Oh, and you can see some fire damage over there. Wow, a lot of fire damage. But yeah, we'll continue onward. All right, let's head into this room right here. This is in the same building we were just in, just a different section. Now, we were in here yesterday as well, and I think this is probably some sort of utility section. There are actually bathrooms in here, which I'll show you, but this right here appears to be some sort of water boiler. Actually, oh, I thought I saw some words, but we can peek in here really quick. This is the inside of the water boiler itself, which is kind of cool to see. Very rusty, of course. But again, one of the very few remnants of machinery left behind here. And then back here, if you head into this room, these are the former bathrooms. Not really much left behind, but you can see remnants of the stalls. You can also see outlines of where the toilets were. And then a random tire. Not as cool as the tire swing I was on earlier, but it's all right. I'd give it like a 3 out of 10.
Imagine how new that wood is right there.
Oh yeah. It's probably still old, but it does look new compared to the rest of the structure. Because yeah, there's not a lot of like aging on it. Or maybe it was put up to help hold the structure up, not sure. But that's kind of cool to see. And then again, I just have to say, I love the greenery and the foliage poking out. Just gives us such a beautiful view. But it does appear that this brick building that we've been exploring is primarily used for, you know, power or mechanical purposes, or probably just staffing. I do think in the next room, you're gonna see some office rooms. So we're gonna continue onwards, but this is just the middle room right over here. Oh, and one thing, I think it was in this, oh yeah, right here. You can actually see that someone wrote down, RIP Lehigh Valley Railroad. Of course, the Lehigh Valley Railroad was the operating railway that owned the Manchester Roundhouse. Really quickly, we'll just show you guys this room. Not too much going in here, it's pretty small. Oh, what's that?
This is where there was a breaker box.
Oh yeah, breaker box right here.
Yeah. Or actually a fuse box. Sorry, this is hold fuses.
Oh yeah.
They clamp onto the ends of them there.
Wow, that's super cool. One of the few ones I've seen in the structure. So that makes me think this must have been an electrical room.
Yeah, there are a few other ones kicking around, but that's
Maybe I didn't notice.
the better preserved one I've seen for sure.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So, I don't know. My guess is maybe this is electrical. I could be completely wrong, but it's definitely a small little room. But just gonna go right over here, and I will show you guys what I believe is probably the offices. Actually, right in this room right here. Yep. Right in here. This is the offices. So we're gonna peek inside. Now this little section of this brick building has a bunch of different rooms. You can see, for example, in here, this I think was probably some sort of receptionist's office. You most likely had laborers coming up here to receive payment, you know, signing paperwork, maybe visitors. That's my guess, at least. You can also see that from this little window right here. So my guess is they probably had receptionists in here. We can peek in here. This is just a room. I'm not really sure what it is. You can lead the way. Oh, what is that? Sounds like an air raid siren.
It's the purge.
I don't know if you guys can hear that on camera, but it sounds like an air raid siren just went off outside. Crazy. Another room in here, not entirely sure what this room was, but again, I personally think this is offices or something for staff.
A full tree.
Yeah, random tree growing inside. And another tire. I'd give this one a 4 out of 10.
Tree going outside.
Oh yeah, that's cool. That's actually kind of a sick shot right there of the tree like turning around throughout the windows. That's one thing I love about this spot is just the blend between American industry and nature. And of course he's gonna fire a shot of that. We'll peek in here really quick. Got some more little rooms in here. Just another one. Maybe a 6 out of 10 tire over there. I don't know why I'm rating tires in this video. I've never done that. But yeah, just another little room that I think is probably just offices again. And then you follow this way. This is again what I think is the receptionist room. And then it leads right back to this. So this little brick building that we explored has a bunch of little rooms in it. And then once again, for reference, you peek outside and there's the Roundhouse. All right, guys, so I think that's really about it for this brick building right here, which is the other structure on the Manchester Roundhouse property. We basically looked inside all the rooms and it's pretty cool. I think this just had a variety of uses and purposes, a multi-use building. But now we're gonna be heading back to the Roundhouse itself. Before we head inside again and finish off the video, I did just wanna show you a couple more views of the exterior, especially in this little interior area. I don't even know what you would call this section. I'm just calling it a courtyard, but it probably has a proper name. Once again, you can see the turntable right there, right in the center, positioning trains and locomotives where they need to be. And then of course you have the massive semicircle structure itself. So I will just walk up to it a bit more, show you guys a couple more shots of the front. It's cool looking, I gotta say. It's such a cool building. I've never been in a, I guess, semicircle building like this before. It's pretty unique. And you can see it's made out of different materials. You got some concrete, you got some brick. I see some metal up there. Made of a variety of different materials. And then right over here, this is the main garage section, it looks like. Right over there. And then of course another view of that turntable. So yeah, that's really about it for the Manchester Roundhouse. I'll probably do one more shot inside, a bit of a last minute walkthrough, and then I think that's about it. Oh, and of course I gotta give this tire a rating. You know what? I'm feeling lucky. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Once again, guys, we're back inside the Manchester Roundhouse itself. Absolutely beautiful building. A lot of really interesting architecture, structural designs. I just love the look of this building. One of the coolest looking industrial buildings I've ever explored. You guys know I've explored many buildings. Many industrial buildings, factories, warehouses, mills, even train depots on this channel before, but this is one of the coolest looking ones I've checked out, in my humble opinion. Most of the ones I've explored have been throughout the New England area. If you don't know, I'm actually from Massachusetts myself, but I was taking a trip up to upstate New York this weekend, and made a visit over here, and this truly is one of the coolest ones I've ever checked out. So I'll just do a little bit more walking, give you guys some last few looks at the Manchester Roundhouse, and then I do think that's about it. Unfortunately, there isn't too much else to see here. It is mostly empty, but cool building, cool history, cool graffiti. As I stated, it was built in 1916, owned and operated by the Lehigh Valley Railroad, operated for many decades as a roundhouse, using the turntable to position trains and locomotives for maintenance, repairs, and storage. Operated for many more decades until the 1970s, when it was slowly abandoned, and by the 1990s, it was officially closed and abandoned. And that really is about it for the Manchester Roundhouse. I think we're gonna head out shortly, but before we do that, show you a few more shots. You got Matt taking some fire pictures of me. What's up, dude? Pretty cool spot. Hey, thank you guys for joining me. I've been J-Mass as always, and this has been another dope adventure. And today we explored the abandoned Manchester Roundhouse here in the town of Manchester, New York, here in beautiful upstate New York. This was such a fascinating location. My second time coming here in a row. I was literally here last night, came here again today. Definitely want to show you guys around, so that's why I came back to film it, and I absolutely love it. I find the history fascinating, with it being such an important piece of railroad infrastructure here in a town that was once such a prominent rail yard depot, Manchester, New York, especially due to its central location here in upstate. But I really loved it, built in 1916, abandoned and closed by the 1990s. And of course, I wasn't joined just by myself. I was with Matt and Cross the Words. You guys have seen Cross the Words 1221 on many of my videos, and it's Matt's first time. Thank you guys for joining me. Really appreciated it. We had a great time today exploring. What'd you guys think about this place?
Amazing.
It's great.
It is a fascinating location. So definitely check out Cross the Words 1221 and Matt Losier on Instagram. I'll put it down below. They have a lot of cool stuff on there. Again, thank you guys for joining me. And of course, if you guys love urban exploration, checking out abandoned sites, traveling New England and beyond, in this case, New York, well, I'm always doing that on the channel. So feel free to subscribe to the channel. Want to give a major shout out to all my channel members. You can see them all right here. You guys are awesome. And I'd love it if you too, viewer of this channel or this video, will consider becoming a channel member as well. Or you can follow me on Instagram at JMassOfficial. That's at JMassOfficial. But yeah, that's about it for today. Manchester, New York, the Manchester Roundhouse. And now I got to drive all the way back to Massachusetts. So I'm going to get started. See you guys later.